Of when you arrive, you've obviously come down Folkard's Lane, and the kennels is straight ahead of you just before the big left bend on Folkard's Lane. If this gate is closed, it shouldn't be locked. There's a padlock on the left side. You should be able to just get out of the car and push it to open it. In the unlikely event that doesn't work, Tony, who owns the kennels, lives in this house. You go through that little brown side gate there and just go knock on the door. I will also make sure all of you have the phone numbers for here, just in case. Let yourselves in, and when you go out with the sleigh on your run, just pull the gate behind you. Don't lock it, just pull it closed behind you. Then when you've brought the sleigh back and you're finished, shut the gate, pull this chain through the gate, and it simply secures using the padlock there. So that's once you finish completely for the night, but don't lock it while you're out, only when you finish completely. In terms of where we park when we come up here, if Santa's with you and needs to park, he generally puts his car up onto that bit of grassy area there, ideally trying to leave those doors free if you can. Be very aware there is a nasty grating drain there, don't get caught in that. And then the sleigh itself tucks up by this post, which luckily is painted bright orange, making it a little bit easier to see in the dark. And you've got the sleigh tucked into the corner there. Now there are some lights that can help. If we turn round over here into the office, when you get here the office will be unlocked for you, and you can just come in, come round the back of the door, and this switch on the side here on the right, on the side of the door, you can switch that on and it turns a big work light on to cover the whole yard. Just make sure that you turn it off when you're finished. It's important to turn it off when you finish. So this is a very quick hitch up video for the sleigh. We have one thing that's missing that will be here when you get here, and that is a safety cable, which is the brake safety cable, which will be hooked over the tow hitch. It's just a wire cable that you hook on. So procedure 1, plug in electrics. 2, take the currently invisible safety wire, place it over your tow hitch. Then wind down onto the hitch, and there's an important thing to note as it goes down. Now when the hitch is open as it currently is, this red button here is flat, is flush with the with its housing. Once it has safely gone on, it will pop up, and it's essential to look for that. I'm just going to wind it down and then I'll show you what that looks like. Occasionally you might need to put a foot on it just to drop it down once you've wound it down. Doesn't always sit first time, but once it is down you can see that this button is now sitting up proud. If you've put your torch on it, you'll actually see there's a little green collar around it. Flush means it's not correctly attached. Sitting up with the green collar showing means it is correctly attached. We never put the brake on the sleigh. It's very hard to get off, and it seizes very easily, so we don't put the brake on. Before you release the brake and pull the jockey wheel up, release the holder and pull the jockey wheel up, make sure you have wound it fully into its housing first. And once you've pulled the jockey wheel up and secured it, make sure it's in this position so that there's no danger it will rattle and roll down. If you leave it too low, don't wedge it up against, you see it's wedged up against the bit of wood, that just stops it ever twizzling or dropping itself down. So that's the hitch up procedure. Once you've hitched up, we then come to starting the generator. So this is the generator on the front of the sleigh, and it's all set to go. So the first thing to do, make sure this petrol switches to on. On is at 9 PM, off is at midnight. This little wire loop here is the choke. Pull the choke fully out, and this is the on-off switch here. Press the top in, on is at the top, off is at the bottom. So on, off. We then come round to the other side of the generator, and here we can see the pull handle. So it should start first or second pull. It's very reliable, shouldn't be hard to start, just a good firm pull. As soon as she's running, push the choke straight back in. So choke goes straight back in the minute she's running. The other thing you'll want to do is check the fuel before you set off, which you can simply do by opening the cap here. There is a filter in it, and just if there's any loose bits, sometimes you have to pull it forwards a bit because it gets caught under the strap. So you just have to pull it forwards away from the strap, but then just take off anything like that so that doesn't go into the fuel tank. So open the tank, thus pop that up there. Take this filter out here. Let's just check how much is in there tonight. Oh, plenty for tonight. I'll leave it full whenever I've used it, so hopefully you probably won't, because it do at least 2 if not 3 nights on the trot, so a lot of the time you won't need to worry about it. But should you need to top up, let's make sure it's really securely on. There is a spare can of fuel on the trailer, and also the we don't have a proper funnel, but that Schweppes tonic bottle does a perfect job for being a funnel. There are a set of steps on the sleigh just here if Santa needs those, or if you're parking up at any point for any length of time. I think everyone towing is actually just doing a run, so you shouldn't need those, but there are a set of steps there if they're required. If you've been efficient and brought your own number plate, to swap that on the back of the sleigh, all you do is you push down, and that releases the spring-loaded bottom catch, and you can pull it in or out, and then as soon as you've got it back in place, release, and it springs back up and holds itself there. Now we come to the tracking and the music. So there's a little red waterproof bag here, which will be hung on this little clip just under the side of Santa's seat here, and if you open that bag you'll find an emergency torch, which just might be handy if you have a problem anywhere in the dark, but more importantly, here is the phone, which has the tracking and the music on it. So it's plugged in, so it's got a power cable, which is the orange one, and the black cable is the connector to the sound system. That has 2 connection points in it, because there's a second one down here to transfer it from the mini jack facility to the full-size jack. So make sure the cables are connected. To turn the phone on, it's this lower button here. I had actually already powered it up before we got here, but it will just press it for a couple of seconds and then it'll start up in the normal way. Once it starts up, this is the screen you're presented with. So first thing is to turn on the tracking. So that's the Loca to Web map with a green pin in it. Click on that, this opens, and then what you can see, these will vary each time you get to it, but you'll see a list of the next few runs on the system. I'll just load them a few at a time. So here we can see Monday the 1st of December is currently at the top of the list. So we click on that one and we press the green start button, and it asks us to confirm, and we say yes, we want to start, and takes a few seconds, just one for it to start up. But once it's started, you can see the button goes red and it gives you the option to stop when you're ready. So then press the little square button here at the bottom of the screen. That takes you back to the home screen. Now we go to the music option. We open Spotify, which is the other green button there. We always need to use the downloaded music, because we can't count on Spotify being connected to the internet at all times. So we press the Your Library button, which is here at the bottom. Once we get there, we make sure that we've selected the downloaded option of lists. I think it automatically tends to come up to playlist, but you need the downloaded only. And so here we can see about 5 lists. Choose your music, whichever you happen to prefer. And when you press the button for it to play down here, it will play out on the speakers. I haven't got it running at the moment, because otherwise you wouldn't be able to hear me talking, but you will hear it coming through the speakers. If for any reason it doesn't, just go back down the line, triple check the connections. Sometimes I've occasionally knocked one out when I'm trying to connect it. When you get to the end of the run, just reverse the process. Stop the music, which you can do, obviously it isn't running at the moment, but which you just press the stop button. Then press the square button at the bottom here to return to the home screen. Press the map button, and at this point you can stop the tracking. Again, it asks you to confirm, say yes. So now the music stopped and the tracking stopped. So simply press the button. Sorry, you actually have to, I can't do this with one hand. Hang on. You have to press the on-off button and the volume down button at the same time to power the machine off. And, oh, I've pressed the restart button by mistake. Never mind. But you get the gist. So that's the music on and off. Just remember to power it down between each use so that it doesn't run down on battery while you're gone. And then once you've done that, simply pop it back into the wet bag, fold the top over, clip it up and hang it back on the hook. In the recent Sleigh refit, the sound system itself has been moved from the position that older drivers, longer standing drivers will be familiar with, under here on a shelf, which is currently not in the Sleigh. I think we'll get that back for next season, but currently the sound system is actually under Santa's seat. So if you did need to adjust the sound, I think it's set at a pretty good level. If you did need to adjust it, you'll need to pick the seat out. Now you can see here's the box with the sound system in it, and just take that plastic lid. It's a little bit of a jiggle to fit, so take the plastic lid out. So once you've got the plastic lid out and you can see the unit, this is the master on-off switch. If it's sticking out a long way, it's off. When it's more or less flush, not quite, it's on. We normally don't turn this on and off between uses because the power gets turned off anyway. And if you do need to adjust the volume, starting from the power switch end, the first knob is the master volume button. But hopefully you shouldn't need to adjust that because it's set at the right volume for our runs. If I'm free, I'll come up and meet you to hand things over at the Sleigh. But if I'm not available, you will find in the Sleigh the buckets, the yellow buckets here, and this black bag, which contains the lids to the yellow buckets. There's 14 of those. That should be more than enough. And it's also got a few small buckets. So if you've got smaller kids walking with you, there are some little rotary buckets in here that you can give to the little kids. Just a note that technically and legally, small children cannot collect on their own, so they must be with an adult at all times. Here's the little buckets in there. So make sure that parents know that, and to keep the kids under control at all times. We're obviously on the road, it's a dangerous situation. You'll also find the Santa sack, which contains the high vis. So the high vis are divided into 3 different sacks. This bag, which has got orange ones in it, has the kids' sizes in it. So the smaller kids, give them one of those. This clearish sack has the extra large ones in it. And then the white sack has the large ones. I'll just put those on the top there, has the large ones. So we don't do medium and small. We're working on the theory that everyone's rugged up and therefore they can manage with a large or an extra large. So those will need to be given, and the buckets will need to be given to the collectors at the beginning of the run, and just tuck those safely into the middle of the sleigh just to keep them as much as possible out of the weather when you're finished. Last thing, the credit card machines, sum up machines, I'll hopefully hand these to you in person because obviously security issues. For any reason I can't meet you at the sleigh, I will tuck these in behind the bag that contains the phone, so behind the red bag in the cockpit, sleigh cockpit. So sum up machine, won't normally have the, let me just take that out of there. Take a few seconds to start up, as you can see. Once it has started, this is what you will be able to see. Top of the unit is here. On, off and wake it up button is here. Press it for a couple of seconds to turn it on or off. Press it quickly once just to wake it or put it to sleep. All pretty obvious. You want to charge someone for a donation. They tell you how much. Put in the amount, £1.10p in this case. Press this charge button here. You then see the screen here. You get your credit card. They tap the machine and takes a couple of seconds to go through, assuming it's approved. In the unlikely event they want a receipt, you either press this button to give them an email with it on, take their email address, or you press this button to text them a receipt, get their telephone number. Just follow the instructions on the screen if you those. Most people don't want a receipt, so simply press done. As I say, put it to sleep if you're not using it between things. And at the end of the run, make sure you get these back and make sure to fully switch them off. So hold the button for several seconds. Then you get a message at the bottom that says power off. Hit the power off button and it will turn itself off. It's important to turn them off when you've finished. Also, so you need to get these back at the end of the run. You obviously need to get all the money from the buckets back and put all the money into one of the buckets and leave the rest of the buckets on the sleigh. Take the one bucket with you. Also make sure you get all the high visibility jackets back from the collectors. And then when you've finished, please would you be very kind, and you should have a route map with you of that day's route. If you can just put that route map into the top of your final bucket to give it to Sim, she will know which night that money was from. Each night we have different collectors, so it's important that we can identify the buckets. If for any reason you haven't got the route map with you, just write on a bit of paper the date that you were doing it and which one it was, Wivenhoe, Bentley, Hurst Green, whatever it was. For information, the other thing to note, we have a website, santasleighbrightlingsea.com. So we have live tracking, and each night the tracking that you've switched on the system will be available via santasleighbrightlingsea.com. So if anyone's asking you, how do I track the sleigh, go to, here we go, santasleighbrightlingsea.com, and then here on the front page near the top, a couple of buttons. First of all, people can donate online if they want to, and secondly, they can track Santa. When they track that page, it takes them to our landing page where any live or recent routes will be shown. So I will be clearing these down each day, so at any given point they should really only find the one that you're doing, that Monday the 1st of December showing, just because we've been fiddling with that today. But so that's it. End of lessons. Thank you so much for volunteering. I hope everything goes well. Any problems, you have my number. I will always keep the phone on and with me at all times while you are out on the road in case of an emergency. Very many thanks.